sometimes. My name is Kaya Landon. I'm the museum director. We'll be interviewing you today. If you could each briefly just tell me your names for the camera and where you're from.
Okay. My name's Ronald Geronimo. I'm from southern Arizona. It's a community called Big Hills. It's about 65 miles west of Tucson.
Okay.
My name is Joaquin Geronimo. Ronald here is my brother. I live in the same area,
Okay.
right there in the community of Big Hills.
Okay, great. So the point today is to talk a little bit about your experiences at the Indian school. Can you tell me what sort of education you had before you came to the Indian school?
High school or?
Any sort of education. Did you have elementary on the reservation, junior high?
Yeah, I mean preschool.
Okay.
Starting in preschool and then all the way up to
Okay.
elementary, junior high, then high school.
Okay, great. How was the decision made for you to attend Intermountain School? Did your parents decide? Were you consulted? What went into that?
I think for me, I just saw a brochure at the BIE building. I really wanted to go somewhere and do something different. When I saw that, everybody else went to other schools that were, this was a different school.
Right.
And so I decided to put in an application for the school here in Mount. I got accepted. But I did tell my parents before that that's what I wanted to do. I had to come here. They didn't really mind it, I guess.
Oh.
So that's why I came.
Great. Was it the same process for you?
Yeah, well, I always thought about boarding school because a lot of at that time the high school was fairly new, and most of the students when they went to high school had to go off the reservation. So the high school was fairly new, and so boarding school was always something that I thought about. But the school that I had wanted to attend closed. So I stayed in cells where the high school was, and but the next year when I graduated from junior high to high school, a lot of my friends went to boarding school, and so I was there, and he was up here, and so during that summer, listening to them talk about boarding school, him and his friends, and he had a friend that went to Chilocco, it's in Oklahoma, and they were talking about boarding school, and they said, you should go to boarding school. And so I asked my mom that if I could come to school here, because he graduated in 78, and we came up here, we drove up here, so I saw the school, I saw my friends here, and so when I asked my mom, I think I was 15 at the time, and she told me that I was old enough to make my own decisions, that it was okay, that I had seen the school, I had seen how far it was, so I knew what I was getting into. And she liked the Eagles also, the Intermountain Eagles, that it was something powerful in our traditions, and so she said it was fine. And I know that I had done some readings and some research on the school, and a lot of that had mentioned that the students that came to Intermountain were the ones that didn't have a good life at home, or that didn't live near a school, or that were in trouble with the law. And I was saying that wasn't in our case. I lived 10 miles from a school. We had good home. Both parents us, and was never in trouble with the law. So it was just my own decision and wanting to experience life, yes, also away, and to be with friends.
Okay. From other students you guys knew when you were at the school, did you feel that was the case for most of them, is that they too were not the in trouble kids, that they were kids who were there by choice, that did have options and that was just what they chose?
I'm pretty sure. I think maybe early on it might have been to get students to come.
Right.
You know, but later on it was just your own option. And there were other schools in California and Nevada, and Oklahoma, and other places.
Yeah. So how did you feel about the distance to the school? Did you like being that far away from home? Was that part of the appeal?
I think that was part of the appeal. I mean,
Yeah.
to just to go out and now I've always, in history books I've read, a lot of places, and I think that's all I wanted to do was be a traveler, just to go somewhere and just place just seemed like. It was far away. I knew it was far away, but and just coming here and that's just what I wanted to do, just to be away from the reservation there. And that's why I came too. Another reason why I came.
Anything to add? You don't have to.
I guess the other distance was, well, like I said, we had come up for his graduation, so I know how far it was, and we were only here for a little while. But when I came back to attend school, and I guess at the beginning it was kind of getting used to being that far away, but I think the change in the scenery or the area, I think it was good, just to be that far away from home and try to. We were growing up, we were making our lives, but we had people around here, that are friends. So it didn't seem that far enough that I was be with them.
How was the climate difference? Southern Arizona to northern Utah is quite a change. Was the snow a shock?
I loved it. Still do. Yeah, I was telling my son, it's the first time that I've seen snow. I was in my room, and the morning I woke up, I opened the window, and everything was just white. And it was just, to me, it was just a beautiful sight to see that. I couldn't wait to get out and walk in the snow and be out there and just to experience it. And I love cool weather. It's hot in Arizona, 110 degrees, and so yeah, it was fine with me.
You felt the same way, I
felt
guess?
the same way, yes. Just like he said, I've never seen snow. It got cold in where we live. But when we came here and seeing the snow, it was like he said, it was just something that I've always seen in books, but this is when I see what I saw, it was there, right in front, right there, yeah.
How did you get to the school? I know in the early years especially, they bused kids from the reservation. Was that the case when you both came up?
Yeah, we with our nation, our tribe, we usually sent 3 busloads students, and so that's how we came. Drove all night, and then we got here in the morning. So it was an all night. Forgot what. Late in the afternoon, we'll leave from cells, and then just start picking up students at certain points, and then head on up through Phoenix and Flagstaff. So it was just driving all night and getting here in the morning.
Okay. Tell me about your first day at Intermountain School. What was that like?
I think for me it was like I was. I mean, I did miss home. I mean, I missed a lot of stuff when you think about it, I guess. But it didn't. But when I saw the people that came with us, the same tribe, our friends, it didn't really. Wasn't so bad. If I didn't see them, if I was the only one that came, I was the only one at the school, I think I probably would have decided to go back home.
Was there a lengthy intake procedure? I know in the
Uh,
early years.
I was gonna say that, I mean, the first place they take you to the hospital, the clinic,
Mhm.
and get a checkup and everything. And I mean, kind of felt weird, but you know, take you to this whole process. I guess give you a physical. I don't know. And then you start doing your figure out where you're gonna stay and give you a room and things like that. Then you find then they take you to your dorm, and then you kind of live there until usually came on a Friday, so it's like a weekend, and Monday you register for classes. So my first day was just walking around, and I think I got lost the first time. Ended up in the girls' side dorms, trying to go to the dorms. And so it was a big place. But yeah, it was just that feeling of something new, but also, like you said, kind of unsure. You're this far away. You can't just get out and get on a bus and go back home. You're here. You're here.
What was your favorite part about attending the school?
The people, meeting making friends, meeting new people, not just classmates, but staff and new teachers and coaches. And I never knew how many different Native American tribes there were, and there were so many. I was just only familiar with Arizona and near surrounding areas, but to see this many and to experience, their culture, the way, similarities and differences, and just to get the whole experience. But just meeting, people, building relationships and friendships, and that are still there today.
Anything you'd
I-
like to?
I guess, like I was saying earlier, meeting people that came up with us, or the students that came up with us, I should say. But, like he was saying, meeting new people from different tribes, and, that itself was good, because, about like maybe a couple of weeks, maybe a month, when we started going to school here, we didn't really hang out with the same tribe, because we met other friends from different tribes, like Sioux and Yakima, Koyot. I mean, they became our friends. That's the ones we hung out with. We didn't hang out with our own tribe. They hung out with their own friends, Apaches and Navajos, and that was the part that it was real good for me just to know other people from different tribes.
Was there much fighting, either just between students in general or particularly between students of different tribes?
When I was there, I just witnessed like maybe 2 incidents, but it was against the staff, students, against the staff. Maybe one incident was 2 students that were from different tribes that were fighting, but they were sent home right away. So. Other than that, I didn't see anything else after that.
Yeah, I didn't really experience that. I mean, I know, that there's always people that disagree and fight, but it wasn't not we're our tribe against your tribe. We're gonna fight you guys. I didn't experience that. Sometimes I hear that. I hear these guys are gonna go fight, and they always said they're gonna meet up at the cemetery. I guess that's where they did. I don't know. I never went. I never saw anything like that. But I mean, just individual students fighting each other. And I see that back home too. That happens at home. Anywhere else, it wasn't something that happened a lot. But it did happen.
So what did you like least at the school? Was there if you could have changed something, was there something you would have preferred to be different? All right.
I guess to get out of washing trays. Now I get picked for, students get, I guess, detailed for something. I think that's what I like. I mean, dislike them. The least was washing trays. But
Yeah, nothing major. I mean, there's nothing. Of course, little things, long lines to go eat, or the food sometimes maybe, yes, but nothing major. I can't think of anything.
I don't think of anything.
What sorts of chores did they have you do? Besides washing trays, was there something else on a rotation? How did you get picked for that? What did that involve?
We all had details in our dorms, so that rotated around. Just certain areas you need to clean. Besides your room, you always had to clean your room, and then inspect it in the mornings. And hallways or outside or trash, it's your turn to empty the trash, clean the living room, clean the laundry room. It's different details that we had to do. And then the other one was the lunch duty. Each dorm had a specific time for breakfast and dinner that you had to be the ones to serve. And then lunchtime was usually between classes. A certain class would be the one to do lunchtime detail. So those were mainly the ones.
Each dorm had, be chosen to do the details. Like they say, dorm 29 has detail this week or this month, and it was up to the staff to assign, the people or the students that live in the dorm to do this or that. But other, like he was saying, you had to do on a daily basis.
Yeah, those were daily.
Interactions with the people of Brigham City. Did you spend a lot of time in town?
Well, yeah, I was just telling him that I was looking for that little cafe that we used to eat there, and the people in there were real nice to us. You know, every time us Native Americans would go to eat, you know, um, the people that served us, and um, they were just, you know, they were just nice. You know, of course, there was, you know, some racism somewhere. Here, you know, people, you know, calling us names when we walked down the street. I mean, it wasn't that bad. It was just, you know. But that was the only place that we could go that we felt good. And I was telling, I wonder if it's still there.
What
But
was
it's
the
still-
cafe?
We just saw it.
We just saw it.
We drove through there.
Something's Cafe. Is it a little
Bert's Cafe?
Bird's
Yeah.
Cafe?
Okay.
Bird's Cafe. Now, it's still here, so we should go eat in there. You know?
Yeah.
I wonder if those little
Jukebox.
juke boxes that they have at the tables. You can
They
just
still have them.
put your quarter in there, and you can. And I wonder if they'll still have them. That's why I was telling them we should go eat in there after.
You should,
Yeah.
yeah. I haven't been in there yet.
I don't know if Burt's does, but I know Peach City does.
Yeah.
Peach City has jukeboxes.
The little ones on the table.
I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah, they do at Peach City.
Maybe that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, it was, I had a lot of good experiences with the people from Brigham City. I never had no problems with them. You know, I believe they were real good people to us at that time when I was going to school.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing, but of course, like you said, there are those times when you're walking down the street and somebody's going by yelling at you, or making Indian songs, I guess, I don't know, yelling something out at you. That happened. Some of the places are, like you said, they're real nice and welcoming. Once in a while, you know, some other places, when you walk in, they might be watching you, and you feel like they're watching you because you're going to steal something, and maybe somebody did it before, but it wasn't, you know, all the students. Maybe some of them did. So you kind of feel that way, but it's the same. It's the same at home. You go to Tucson, it's like that too. So it was nothing really different than what we experienced at home. And there were people that do that, and there are people that, like he mentioned, but they're real nice and friendly and welcoming. And so it wasn't a bad experience. I would say if it was, I won't come back.
Did you have jobs, either after school, or did you ever stay through the summer for jobs?
I think he did. I didn't.
Yes, we had weekend jobs, you know. People that were in the Army dorm, I was in the Army dorm 6, and each Saturday, you know, they would somebody from the city would request students to come clean the yard. You know, we would, 2 of us would be chosen. Well, there was a lot of students that did, you know, go to different areas, different places, you know, to work for whoever requested students, and that's you know, that's what we did on weekends. You know, they paid us like maybe $20 a day to clean the yard or whatever they needed. So that was I mean, that was helpful. You know, we could use that money to go watch movies, go to Taco Time or Arctic Circle, which is not there anymore. But yeah, it's like every weekend. You know, I have spending money. You know, my parents didn't have that much money to send us, but they did send us.
Do you participate in any intramural activities, any sports or any clubs?
Yeah,
Keep talking. This is wanted to make sure.
I played football and baseball. Those were the two. And then intramural sports to the dorm, the inter dorm competitions. You know, we did that also. Just different softball, volleyball, or different things like that. So there was always something in the recreation center, the recreation department always had things going on. And then in my last year here, I was with the I forgot what it was called, but we were the ones that did all the setup for the intramural games and things like that. Set up the gym, set up the equipment, did the officiating, things like that. So it was a club that Terry Chappell was the advisor. And he you know, just, you know, we run the clock and things like that, the time. So it was good. But yeah, football and baseball were the sports I played in.
I played baseball and football on in the mountain team. And, there were, you know, intramurals too. I mean, like my dorm would get a team together. We would play volleyball or flag football on the grass. Yeah, that's pretty much the only two sports I played was volleyball and flag football for intramural.
Yeah, there was always something going on.
Did you have a lot of choices in your classes? I know in the early years there was kind of a more vocational focus to the school, but I think by the time you guys were there it was much more of just kind of a regular academic high school. But did you have a lot of choices in what to study?
Oh, it was vocational too. In our junior year we had to pick a vocation.
Okay.
And so we spent the afternoon in our vocation, junior and senior year. So the first part of the school, at least half of the day was academic, the other half was vocational. So it was still vocational school.
Okay.
The classes, you know, the regular classes, math, social studies, English, science. There were some classes that I needed, so they put me in the Air Force ROTC for a makeup class, and then I also had typing for a makeup class, which I'm very glad I took. Not at the time, but now, because I do a lot of typing. I don't remember us being able to choose, you know, a class that we might have wanted. I don't know if there were any. There were other choices than what we had. There were some, well, even in our sophomore years, you picked a kind of like a, I don't know if we call it a prerequisite for the vocation, but it was like machine shop, you know, metals class or plastics class or woods class, and you just, or small engines class that you work on building stuff. And like I said, your junior and senior year, you picked a vocation. And, I picked building trades, but they were full, so they wanted us to move, some of us to move, so I picked a machine shop. And they couldn't find an instructor for that, so they wanted us to move again. So I didn't want to take welding because I had taken it before in my other high school. I decided I'll just take welding again, so I took welding. And, I had welding my junior and senior year. And, they worked with us. I became certified as a welder here at Geronimo. So he took the same thing.
I took the same thing. They just gave me a choice what I wanted to do for vocational part of the school. I chose welding. Got certified here too. I think it took it for 3 years. 3 years, and which was it was something now that I use. I mean, I don't make a living off it, but I do welding as a hobby, or some of my friends would come over and ask me to fix something for them. So I do it. I have my own machines, but if I wasn't here, I don't know if I would have done welding out there, or if I would have had a trade. But this school gave me, something to use in the future at that time. And I really credit the school for helping me get that trade. And I love it. I like to do that. There's so much more I could say about it, but be here for a while.
Yeah, there's, other students that are taking different trades, they're working in those areas now. I see them
Yes.
back home doing building construction.
Oh, yes.
And I also I worked in construction for 9 years after leaving here, but I went on to college too, and I took welding in college too, and then I worked construction for 9 years, and I used my skill that I learned, and I still enjoy doing welding. I changed my careers, so I don't do that anymore, as a career, but I can still do it. If I need to do it, I can still do it.
Yeah, I just want to add on, like he was saying, that those the students that got trades here and went home, they use the trade to make a living, like carpentry, automotive. There's so many trades that we had there. Yeah, it's a good school.
So after you left Intermountain School, what did you go on to do?
I left school in 1978. I came here in 74, 75, 76, 77, and 78. I went home for about maybe a month. Then I joined, the military. Like I was saying earlier, I wanted to see places. I wanted to go places, and the military gave me the chance to see. I've been across the Atlantic. I've been across the Pacific, and I got discharged in 1986, from 78 to 86, and I came home. But I've just been working construction now. Jobs are hard to find down there, so that's where I'm at now.
Okay, well, good.
Yeah, I went on to college. And I have to mention my English teacher, Mrs. Pomayevich, for pushing me to go to college. Because I don't think I would have gone if she didn't push me. And the way she pushed me was, she failed me in English, and I didn't graduate. So I had to repeat my senior year, and I came back, and she made sure I passed, and that not just passed, but to earn it. She gave me the grade I deserved the first time around, and then the second time around she gave me the grade I deserved again, which was a passing grade. And then she made sure I wrote to colleges to get accepted, and I only heard back from one college, and that was the one that I went to. And even when we were going to graduate, my parents came up, and we were over there, we were by the auditorium, and then she was going home. She was walking home, and she stopped and she told my family, make sure he goes to college. Don't just let him go home and stay home and not do nothing. But she really pushed me. I mean, she made me. The second time when I came out, I tried so hard to get out of her class, and they wouldn't let me. And when she came, she saw me, and she asked whose class I was taking for English, and I told her you. And she said, oh, okay, well, we'll see you Monday. This was a Friday. I have a space, I have a spot for you, she said. And so when I came to class Monday, I sat in the back, and she said, no, come here. She had tables, and in the front she had little individual desks. And she put me in the first one, in the first row, right in front of her podium. That's where she taught, and that's where I sat, and that's how I passed. So, like I said, I went on to college, and after college I went to work for 9 years in construction. Then I changed careers into education, and I decided to become a teacher. And I went to the University of Arizona, and I got my bachelor's degree in teaching in elementary education. And that was in '99. And then I looked her up, and I found her number. And I called her, and she was still here. And I told her, thank you for failing me, for giving me that grade. Because without it, I wouldn't have been able to do, wouldn't be able to value education the way that I do now. And a lot of my teaching is geared towards how she taught, being fair, being I don't want to say tough, but being demanding from the students that they know they can do it. And so, she was one of the one of the teachers that I talk about. A lot of my students now know about her because I tell them, you're going to get the grade that you deserve. And this is why, because of this teacher that gave me the grade that I deserve. I'm not just going to let you pass because you're a good guy. You're going to have to do it. You're going to have to earn it. And, I received my master's degree at the University of Arizona as well. And like I said, a lot of it comes back to here at Imo, the things that I learned at that time. I go back to that and talk about my high school years. That if a lot of these things didn't happen here, I wouldn't be where I am now.
Did your parents visit often? I know you said they came up for graduation. Were there other times they were able to visit you, or did you go home like for Christmas or other sorts of breaks in the year?
We went home for Christmas. But yeah, they did come for my graduation in '78, and they came. Yeah, I wasn't around when they graduated.
I mean, like I said, our parents didn't have much money, to be going back and forth. So, but they did have a group at home of parents of inner-mount students. So they would fundraise, and they would, make that trip up here once in a while, maybe Thanksgiving, and they'd come and spend Thanksgiving with the students here. The only time we went home was Christmas, for Christmas. That's when we went home, then we come back. So, in all my 4 years I was here, I think my parents, my mom only came up probably once or twice, other than graduation. So yeah, it was, we didn't get many visits. Some people will come from down home, and then they sent stuff with them. To make sure we got packages and things like that from them.
What sorts of things did they send?
Food.
Tortillas. That's what they sent, tortillas. And
Yeah. I mean, just food, I mean, snacks and things like that.
Yeah, that's snacks.
Stuff that we don't get here.
Right.
Of course, clothing maybe, or some money. You know, we always, when we get our check or mail, you know, the way we check it, we go and look in the board and there's a mail list and it has your name on there if you have mail. Or, so you go look for your name and if you see your name, then you check and see if you got a letter, if you got a package. So people will go check the mail and if they see if anybody got a package, if you know who they are, they go see them at their room because that means they got goodies from home and they might share with us. And if you got a package, then you can be expecting some people showing up at your door because they know you got goodies from home. So, yeah, it was just stuff that we didn't get a lot here.
What sorts of things did they serve in the cafeteria?
Oatmeal.
That was
We ate a lot
fast.
of oatmeal all the time. Oatmeal toast was most of the time for breakfast. Probably,
I don't remember. I mean, but there was some stuff that I never had that shrimp was one thing that I ate here. I never ate anywhere else before. And now, I like to eat shrimp. But it was, I didn't know how to eat it. I had to ask somebody how to eat it. But don't eat the tails, don't eat the tails. I said, okay. And French toast, I think, is another thing that,
oh yeah,
that
never ate it.
yeah, that I experienced here for the first time. But, other than that, other stuff don't remember. Guess it wasn't that memorable. You know?
Something like forget.
Yeah. And then, yeah, something silly like that. Yeah. Snacks are always good. When we
Oh,
got
yeah.
details, when we did our detail, we get snacks at night. So sandwiches.
Orange juice.
That's why I tell people, you know, inner mom, I blame inner mom for getting me hooked on eating late night snacks.
Okay, those are the end of my questions. If you- that's a good one. Did you know how to play football and baseball before you came to the school?
Yes, no, yeah, we did play baseball and football at that time.
Yeah, when at home, baseball, we
Yeah.
played a lot of baseball starting kids in the community playing. Then we had teams, but football was started in high school. We didn't have the football programs that they do now.
Right.
So just, actually I didn't want to play football when I came out here. I played at home, I played 1 year and then I came up here and I didn't want to play. And the coaches were going around getting people that were going to play. And I went to PE and Coach Gary Romer, and he's still here. He read my name and said, "Oh, come on." He just kind of took me and gave me my equipment because somebody had told him that I had played football before. and so I didn't say anything. And I got my equipment and started playing. But I'm glad I played. I learned a lot from Coach Gary Romer and Coach William Yates, Coach Yates, and the other coaches.
In the dorms, how did they choose who shared a room? Did they try to keep kids from the same tribe together? Did they let you request a roommate? What was that process like? Do you know?
For me, it was, they just, like, we didn't have a choice. They just, you two go over here, you two go over here. But that was okay. I mean, at first we was quiet because we needed to talk to each other. But eventually, we became friends, and if we were told to move somewhere else, I'd ask, can he come with me? My roommate, we didn't really have a choice who the room was.
Yeah, I think when you first get here, you don't have a choice. They put you wherever, with whoever. And then as you get older and later, you can kind of request, or two guys could get together and say, hey, let's request, if we can get a room together and stay together. So, that happened, but my roommates were good.
I think my first roommate was, he was Sue. I still remember his name, Clayton Bull. And then they moved him out. Then they moved in one from my tribe. And he stayed with me for a while. Then I moved to the honor dorm, and then I stayed with the Pima. And he stayed with me for the duration of the time when we were here. So, that was okay too.
What was the honor dorm like? Did you have additional privileges for being in the honor dorm? What was
You had your own restroom. Everyone wants to share, the honor dorm is individual rooms. So you had your own private restroom, and you had, your curfew was a lot later. You probably got more snacks, things like that. You could go out, like, you could get a pass and go out, after curfew. After curfew, you could still go out, to 7-Eleven or something. But yeah, there were extra privileges for being in the honor room.
It was kind of like a co-ed, like you have a living room, and you can watch TV, with the girls there, because one side was the boys and one side was the girls. In the other dorms, it was just all boys or all girls. They weren't allowed to go to the girls' dorms, or vice versa. The girls weren't allowed to go to the boys' dorm. But there on the other dorm, we had a living room in the middle, and we could just kind of like watch TV then, So we had a lot of privilege as an honor dorm student. Besides that, like I say, they let us go to work on weekends.
Did they give you a lot of homework for your classes, or was it mostly in-class work? What were their expectations?
I think if you were behind, you got a lot of homework. But if you were, doing your work, your work in class, you really didn't have that much homework. You did everything in class. And I think maybe a couple of times I did get homework for math because I was behind. Other than that, I never got that much homework.
Yeah, there wasn't much homework assigned, and I think also because we didn't have books to give out, to take.
Right.
The books were in the classroom. You were in the classroom. There were some assignments, more with English, book reports and things like that. And you could take a library book and read it and do your assignment. But other than homework, we didn't get much. I don't remember getting much.
Well, we have a few minutes left. Is there anything else you'd like to tell me?
I think all this time I've been trying to get over here, but it was hard for me because, like I said, I only work construction. I have a lot of things I have to pay at home, and all this time I've been telling him, I gotta get him out, we gotta get him out. Because I think I'll tear it down. It's not all tear it out the same, At least now there's some buildings up, I can see it. If I see it, now I'll feel good, and when I go home, I'll remember how it is. And that's all I want to see. And when I go home, I'll be okay.
Endermon was shaped the person that I am today. And, to see it today and to know that it's been torn down and only our memories will be left. And I really wanted to come back and show my son. I always talk about school to my son. I tell him we're going to go out there, we're going to go see where I went to high school. And then hearing that Utah State University was going to build their campus on there, that the buildings were being torn down. And I said, well, we need to go get there before it's torn down. I know we're working on a reunion for March, to come back in March. But not knowing what's going to be left in March, I wanted to come up here. Like I said, it's not something that I just, it was 30 years ago, but it's still, it's a big part of my life right now. Everything that I experienced and all the people that I've met. And it will be, to the end. And I just hope that some things can be preserved. And that's why, doing this, willing to be able to do this to help in that preservation of what went on here before it's completely, all the physical parts are gone. But like I said, the stories and the memories to be here for people to know. I've talked with the Native American Association at the Utah State University and telling them about it, and they're willing to try and keep it as much a part of the new campus as the old campus.
Well, great. We really appreciate you talking to us today. Yeah, this has been fantastic. Filled in, I think, for me at least, a lot of holes in what we've been finding. So, again, thank you. And, yeah, have a safe trip. Yeah.
I was telling my friends I was going to come up here, see the school. And they say, why? And I said, well, it meant a lot to me, I won't be the person that I am now, because of that school. And I guess it didn't mean a lot to them, but it meant a lot to me.
I'm going to turn this puppy off.